afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Takeover. I'm your host, the King of LA Sports, Richard Lopez, along with the Takeover virgin, Kurtis Thomas. How you doing, Kurtis?
I'm doing good. How are you, Rich?
I'm pretty good, man. I have to take a moment real quick. I've been out a couple months, and I want to say thank you to everyone that held me down. It's been a rough time for me, but I'm back on my feet. I'm feeling great. To my girl, thank you. You've held me down, and you have no idea what it means to me. Okay, now all the sweet and sour and mushy stuff out of the way. So what's up with you, man? How's everything going for you?
School, working hard at this, and it's fun. I'm learning and get to do Takeover with you now.
Yeah, man. I'm glad to have you. I totally appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we'll start off right away with the Lakers, and I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about some of the Laker highlights that have been happening. Yeah, that's all the highlights for the Lakers because they have done absolutely nothing so far this season. They won only 14 games, so that's all you can pretty much say about them. Well, enough about the Lakers. That's just going to make me depressed, and I don't want to be depressed. So these playoff games, they have been something else, man. Yeah. We'll start going back a couple weeks to the Wildcard playoff games. Kansas City and Indianapolis. What a game that was. The Colts came out and they came back and won, but it wasn't they didn't exactly win the game. They kind of got it handed to them. What do you think about that game?
Yeah, I agree. After the game, everyone was giving Andrew Luck all this props. He did a good job in bringing them back, but they lost around 7 to 8 starters.
Yeah, and they're not just any starters. The main scoring threats on their team. Jamal Charles went down in the third play of the game.
Yeah,
got a concussion. He never returned. Houston, Avery, all these guys ended up going down, and the Chiefs were still winning. Alex Smith looked like a top quarterback for a minute.
He is. I actually think he is. And, the Chiefs, even with all those injuries, with Jamal Charles going out, they still, like you said, were winning, had a chance to win, but then their backup running back gets hurt.
Yeah.
Defense.
So they end up having to go with their third-string running back, Gray, and they ended up not working out too well for them. Good job. Hats off to Andy Reid and the Chiefs. They had a great season they had the first overall pick last year, so now they've really turned things around over there in Kansas City, and they look like they have a bright future ahead of them. Moving on from that game, New Orleans and Philadelphia, that was also a good game too. Everyone, just because the Eagles made the playoffs, everybody thought, oh, this is their time. Everyone seems to forget they were in a not so good of a division in the NFC East.
The NFC least.
I love that one, the NFC least.
Yes.
That makes perfect sense because that's exactly how it was. The Eagles, they put up a fight though. New Orleans went in there and they pulled off the victory, 26-24.
And we all know New Orleans isn't really known as a home away team.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why people thought Philadelphia was going to end up winning that game. But same surprise, everyone came out in the cold and beat the Eagles.
Yeah, they beat them and they got through it. And then so the Saints ended up moving on, and we'll get to that after. Okay. But San Diego, in what I thought was an upset of the wild card round, they really took it to Cincinnati. They beat them 27-10.
Yeah, Andy Dalton, he just has that choke factor. I think he's Tony Romo of the AFC when it comes to the playoffs.
Oh, he said it, not me. Hey, I've got my grief. I've got my share of hate for dogging the Cowboys, but it wasn't me. It was Kurtis Thomas, everyone.
Yeah, I said it.
Although I agree.
Yeah,
Andy Dalton. Yeah, in 3 seasons, he's thrown 1 touchdown in the playoffs and I think 6 interceptions.
Too many interceptions.
Yeah, and that's not good. And that goes to show, Marvin Lewis, I don't know if that says something to him. He's been there for 10 years. He's never got out of the first round. I think it might be more than 10 years in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Never gotten out of the first round. So I don't know if they have to make changes, if it's a play calling issue, if they need more players. But they were ranked number 1 overall.
Well, I think they're going to have to make changes because they already lost their offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that right after in a second. But the final game of the wild card round was the Packers and the
my
40.
My favorite game.
Go ahead. I'll let you introduce your team.
Yeah, well, for the second year in a row, the 49ers eliminated the Packers from the playoffs. I started the season and ended the season beating the Packers the last 2 years. And 49ers were still favored to win this game when they traveled to Lambeau Field in below zero temperature.
Oh, yeah.
Freezing. I'm just glad we pulled it out.
Yeah, it was the Packers have been playing without Aaron Rodgers for how long? Like 8 weeks, 7 weeks?
Yeah.
And that was a big thing for me. I thought maybe Rodgers might come in and do some of his magic, and he was.
Yeah.
He was making some of those good passes. But if you're like me and you believe in the football gods, Aaron Rodgers isn't just going to come back after 8 weeks and take his team to the Super Bowl. You got to put in your hard work and your time to get your team to that next level. And something about the 49ers, just they've been showing some magic since the last game of the season when Bowman took that pick to the house.
Yes.
Oh man, it was
the Falcons.
Yeah, it was hard.
Farewell candlestick, actually.
Yeah, the farewell to candlestick game, and to me that was a sign like, hey, big things might be coming for the 49ers.
I hope so.
Yeah, so a lot of people hope so.
Quest
and the
for
only
6.
reason I wouldn't mind seeing a Cali team win it all. You know.
Yeah. I was hoping it was going to be all Cali Super Bowl.
It was possible. The Chargers, they ended up surprising a lot of people, and it could have been. But if you remember the last time the Niners and the Chargers played in the Super Bowl,
we blew the Chargers out.
was not good at
was
all
not a game.
for the Chargers.
Yeah.
Chargers got embarrassed, and they had a good team that year too. But let's before we get into the divisional round, let's talk about the head coaching spots that have been filled so far.
Coach merry-go-round.
Oh man, there's been a lot of coaching changes, a lot of coaches getting fired, still some head coaching vacancies out there. The first one I'll start with is the team that has the number 1 overall pick. Bill O'Brien left Penn State to go to Houston. What did you think about that move?
I think it's a good move. You know, Bill O'Brien leaving the Patriots, went to Penn State with their band, with the Sandusky trial. He did good at Penn State. Took them 15-9. They had scholarship bands, and to still do that, I think he'll be okay with the Texans.
Yeah, Penn State, man, they've been through a lot, and I was surprised he went there, and he still managed to have them have some good seasons there.
Yeah.
Like they have their bands and stuff from the whole Jerry Touch. That's what I like to call him. No,
Jerry Touch.
Pun is definitely intended. But Bill O'Brien, I think he's good with quarterbacks. The question is, do they draft a quarterback right away, or do they go defensive and stay with Schaub or Keenum?
I'm not sure. I think they might trade that number 1 pick, and because they need help elsewhere.
Yeah.
They might need help at quarterback, but they also need help in other places.
I think Schaub's problem was that his coach wasn't doing enough for him, like teaching him the right way. But if Bill O'Brien goes in there, he worked with Tom Brady before. I think he might be able to teach, because Schaub's had some good years.
Yeah.
So I think with the proper coaching, he might do all right.
I agree with that. I agree. But I still wouldn't doubt if Texans draft a quarterback 2nd, 3rd round, because there's a lot of quarterbacks in this draft, and you don't necessarily have to get them in the 1st round, like the 49ers did with Kaepernick.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of people want Texans to draft Johnny Football.
Johnny Football.
But I don't know if that's going to happen.
I don't think so. I think they'll trade that pick.
Yeah, the owners showed a lot of courage in the past by not drafting Vince Young that one year when he was the man out of Texas, and it turned out to be the right move, so I don't think they take it back that way. And moving on, other head coaching news, the Minnesota Vikings, like we were just talking about the Bengals and losing their coaches, the first coach we'll talk about is Mike Zimmer, who just got signed to the Vikings. And you think he's going to change that team?
Well, the Vikings, they have a good team. They have good players, other than a quarterback.
Yeah. Just a few years ago, the Vikings were one of the top run-stopping defenses in the league. Still got some of those players, and this guy, Zimmer, is known for his defense.
Yes.
And I think he's going to make a major contribution to them. And word on the street is they're going after Norv Turner to be the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, that's what I heard also. Like you said, Mike Zimmer, defensive-minded coach. I mean, the last 5 years, he had the Bengals with a top 10 defense for the last 5 years.
And this year coming in, they were number 1.
Yeah, so.
And they lost their main star, and they were still in the playoffs. But, yeah, it was just a little too much to overcome. But the Bengals, another head coaching news, they lost their offensive coordinator to the Washington Redskins. So there's no more, like us in fantasy football like to call Mike Shanahan's stuff Shanahanigans. No more of that, it seems like, as Jay Gruden, let me just congratulate the Gruden family, because I don't think Jay Gruden gets this job without being a brother of John Gruden. But, this guy, he coached arena football, and he was the offensive coordinator for, I believe 2-3 seasons.
3 seasons.
3 seasons, yeah, for the Bengals. And he's a great play caller. I mean, for A.J. Green to always get double-teamed and still find ways to get open, you can't argue it. That's some good play calling. So I think he's a perfect fit for Washington, and he'll teach RG3 how to be more than just a running quarterback. He'll teach him how to throw from the pocket, and probably teach him a little bit of discipline. So I think that's a great hire. What do you think?
I mean, he said coming in, with Shanahan, there was kind of a quarterback controversy.
Yeah.
But with Cousins and RG3, but Jay Gruden already said RG3 is going to be their man. He feels RG3 has all the talent, athleticism you need to be a quarterback in the NFL.
And he sure does.
So he should utilize RG3 skills just the right way, and in the NFC least, they should be able to do something next year.
Yeah, and the sad part for Coach Jay Gruden, as he's gotten the Redskins, is that they traded away what would have been the number 2 overall pick to the St. Louis Rams. So now they're going to be without a first-round pick. And if they would have, maybe like how the NBA does, like they do lottery protection.
Yeah.
If they could have done that, they might have been all right. But the Redskins, I'm sure, weren't expecting to lose all these games.
Yeah. What was 3-13 they won?
Yeah, I think they might have only won 3 games.
Yeah, 3
They won 3 games, and they got the 2nd overall pick. So, but I believe that's the right step in the right direction. They got a good running game. Alfred Morris, it doesn't get much better than him. Yeah. If they can just actually get a top receiver to go along with Santana Moss and Pierre Garçon, they might be making some noise this year.
Maybe help their defense out just a little bit.
That's where most of their drafting should be, is in their defense, because they need some help there.
I mean, their defensive captain is old.
Yeah, London Fletcher.
London Fletcher, he's been in the league forever. I remember he was killing us, the 49ers, when he was with the Rams.
Yeah, and he's actually a pretty good leader. Like, it doesn't get much better than that. He does his job in the locker room. He's a leader. So, as I'm not a fan of the Redskins, but you can see there's a lot of future stuff going on for them, positive things. And one more before we have to take a break. The Lions hired Jim Caldwell to be their to be their head coach, and Peyton Manning actually called the Lions ownership and gave him his endorsement. I think with Megatron, Reggie Bush, and supposedly they're going to draft Mike Evans from Texas A&M. They're going to have a pretty good offensive squad.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just think Caldwell said the other day that it was meant for him to coach in Detroit, and it's destined for him to bring a championship to Detroit. And we'll see.
They have all the tools, that's for sure. There's a couple more pieces on defense. All right, well, we'll be right back after this commercial break, because we got to pay some bills, and we'll be back with a couple more head coaching news, and also the divisional playoffs. We'll be right back.
Well, I just found out that I might bitch the Cupid sensation.
What?
Yeah.
I'll get to the bottom of this one. Hi, welcome to the Takeover. I'm your host, the King of LA Sports, Richard Lopez, a.k.a. the Sports Educator. Welcome back to the Takeover. We're going to continue with some of these head coaching vacancies that have been out there with the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans hired Ken Wisenhunt, former Chargers offensive coordinator, to be their head coach, and I think that's a good move. What do you think?
I think it was the best move out of all the coaching moves.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Explain real quick.
Well, when he was coaching Arizona, the last couple years of NFC West, some can argue is the best division in football.
Yeah.
And just 5 years ago, he took Arizona to the Super Bowl with Kurt Warner and just Larry Fitzgerald.
Good old Kurt Warner. Used to love watching Kurt Warner do his thing.
And he turned things around in San Diego, helping Phillip Rivers, because Phillip Rivers was always a good quarterback that just would throw way too many interceptions.
Yeah.
And then when Ken Wisenhunt came, it's like he changed all that around, and took the Chargers to the playoffs. You know.
Yeah, it looks like it's a good move for the Titans. It looks like they'll be taking a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
And another good move I think is in Tampa Bay. They hired Lovie Smith, which should be I don't know why the Bears should have not let him go. I don't know why they did that, but I think he'll be able to turn around Tampa Bay. Also because he signed Leslie Frazier, the former Vikings head coach, who's known for his defense as a defensive coordinator. So I think those are some good moves right there for the Buccaneers, and they look like they want to be competitive.
They're trying to put together an all-star coaching staff over there in Tampa Bay. And, you know, Lovie Smith started his career coaching in the NFL in Tampa Bay. And like you said, I can't believe the Bears fired him. They were 10-6, and just because they didn't make the playoffs, they fired him.
Yeah, I wasn't too thrilled about that. But you know, I have my own opinions that I can't really say on camera. Wouldn't be politically correct on why they fired Lovie Smith, but that's neither here nor there. Okay. And the last coaching, you want to go ahead and tell them the last coaching?
Jets.
Yeah,
Jets give Rex Ryan an extension.
You think he earned it?
No, I don't.
You don't think so?
I mean, I know he did take the Jets to 2 consecutive AFC championships, but other than that, you know, the last couple years they haven't done anything.
Yeah, and I'm impressed with. They've actually fought this year. They've actually had some really close games. It wasn't as good as they thought, but towards the end of the season, they were still in the wild card position. Yeah, and this is my thing. Like, if the Jets aren't gonna re-sign, if they let him go, who do they get that can really help them out? So I think it's good that they only gave him a 1-year extension. Yeah. I don't think it's the best coaching decision out there, but hey, you know, you gotta get what you can. And I think Rex Ryan's probably, if they can get a good offensive coordinator in there to make sure the offense runs smooth, and I think that would be a good thing for them.
Well, if they don't make the playoffs this next year, he's done. I think he's done.
I just hope they don't bring back the Sanchez, because I don't know how good that will be. Because a lot of people are thinking they wanted him back instead of Geno, but no. I think Geno's the way to go. You got to keep him rolling, stay positive, and let Geno do his thing.
Exactly. You threw him in the fire this first year. Now let's see how he dealt with the fire and how he'll handle it next year before they try to bring any new quarterback in there. Yeah,
and there's still a couple head coaching vacancies out there, but those are yet to be determined. So we'll be back with those in the next couple weeks or so. But moving on to the divisional playoffs, New Orleans Saints went into Seattle with a lot of high hopes to beat the Seahawks, and it just did not work out. The 12th man seemed to be a little too much for them. So what did you think about that game?
I actually picked the Saints to win that game. As we all now know, I was totally wrong, because Marshawn Lynch just trampled all over the Saints' hope of advancing to the championship. Beast mode, all them Skittles. He had, 2 touchdowns, 140 rushing yards. They played a little better than the blowout in the regular season when the matchup between the Saints and the Seahawks. But, like you said, that 12th man is just too much to handle for most teams.
Yeah, a lot of people say it's the 12th man. Some people, maybe a little bit of myself too, think it's this right here. This picture is going to come up right now. Okay, well, that's neither here nor there. A lot of people have their opinions on that. But also, it was just a little too much for Drew Brees. I think the Seahawks have way too good of a secondary. Sherman and all the other these other guys,
Thurman,
yeah, and they're looking good. They don't even have Browner no more.
I know.
And they don't have Browner as reference to the picture you guys just seen. But so.
And the weather was real bad. It was meant for a running team with all the rain and the wet ball, and it showed with Drew Brees in the first half. He didn't look like Drew Brees at all.
And that's all by design. The Seahawks, they have good coaching, and they were definitely well game planned for the Saints. And then in what I thought would be a closer game, Indianapolis went to New England, and I kind of believed the hype at first when Luck beat the Chiefs, like, oh, maybe it is something with him, but the Belichick did what he does. He exposed the team's best player, and Andrew Luck threw 4 picks?
3 picks, 6 total in the playoffs. Wow.
So New England really gave it to Indianapolis, and kudos to Andrew Luck. I mean, two playoff appearances in 2 seasons. can't beat that for.
Can't, and he fights hard. You know,
Yeah.
he fights hard. He's a competitor, and he's a good leader for the coach. They got a bright future.
Yeah,
bright
look for them
future.
to be competitive the rest of the time in the next year and
Yeah.
always in the playoff hunt. And then what I picked, I thought in the next game, San Diego versus Denver. I really thought San Diego might pull the upset because, you know, the Chargers, they kind of know Peyton Manning, Chuck Pagano's brother, John Pagano, I think. His brother,
Yeah.
he's the defensive coordinator for the Chargers. I kind of thought they'd be able to surprise him a little bit, but the Broncos showed me they were ready and they were firing on all cylinders, and they just seemed to be a little too much for Phillip Rivers and the Chargers and his I forget what that's called.
Something cowboy tie. I forgot what it's called too.
Yeah, it starts with a B. I'm gonna get flack for not remembering that.
I think that's why they lost. He was trying to do a little superstition thing. They won the wild card game, so he's like, let me wear it again, and it backfired.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on the same boat as you. I was feeling that the Chargers were gonna come in and upset them because both games in the regular season were tough games. They split the regular season series. But the Broncos just came out on fire, and the Chargers came out not prepared. They tried to fight back at the end, you know, but
just wasn't
too
enough.
little, too late.
Too little, too late, and I think Peyton said after the game he wanted a Bud Light. And when
Yeah.
you hear Peyton say that, you know something's up. And then the final game for that one, the San Francisco 49ers defeated the Carolina Panthers. I thought that game was going to be a little bit closer, but it's just the Niners are firing on all cylinders right now. Kaepernick's looking like a good mobile quarterback, picking the right passes. Crabtree's a beast. Vernon Davis is a beast. When Bolden needs to be, he's gonna be a beast.
Yeah.
So you got to watch out for these guys. The Niners they're no joke right now. You got to watch out, man. Now, I think the Niners are gonna make a lot of teams upset this. Speaking of that, let's just jump right into it. Okay. The Niners play the Seahawks next week on the NFC Championship game. What are your thoughts?
It's going to be a good one. They have the 12th man. They have that great – I can't take anything away from Seattle. They have a great defense, if not the best, for sure the best secondary in football. But what they don't have is a good offense.
True.
If you shut down Marshawn Lynch and keep Russell Wilson in the pocket, they can't do anything. Their best receiver is Brandon Tate. Come on.
Golden Tate.
I'm sorry. Golden Tate.
It doesn't look like Percy Harvin's gonna be. He didn't practice this week. He hasn't practiced so far as of today, and I don't know. If any team can go in there and beat the Seahawks at home, it's the Niners.
Yeah.
Kaepernick's not. It's not just a random player going to Seattle. He's been there before. For his young career, he's been there a few times. He knows what to expect, and I think they go in there and they beat the Seahawks. Do you have a scoring prediction on there?
No, I don't.
24-20 for me.
24-20?
24-20, Niners win. In a tough game. It's going to be physical like all those games are. Be super physical. I believe the Niners can shut down Marshawn Lynch. Well, contain him. I don't know if you could truly shut him down. But over the past 3 games he's only rushed for 67 yards on average.
Yeah, until this last
until the last game, yeah.
Well, actually, the last 5 games, the Seattle Seahawks offense hasn't really done anything. Russell Wilson has a 75 passer rating the last 5 games. I don't even think he's passed for 200 yards in the last 5 games.
Yeah.
But it's not needed with that great defense.
Mm-hmm.
But when the 49ers come in with all their offensive weapons and their defense can keep up just enough, I think it should be enough to carry them to their 2nd straight Super Bowl.
The keys for the Seahawks, if the Seahawks want to win, they got to win up there on front with the big boys, offensive line. They got to dominate the line of scrimmage on the offense, and they got to show the Niners who's boss. But it's hard because the Niners got some bad boys on their defensive line. And for the Niners to win, they got to score in the red zone. A lot of times they get to the red zone. Yeah, that's field goals. They're not scoring when they get into the red zone. And believe it or not, with all the hype with the Kaepernick versus Russell Wilson, these two guys, when they play each other, they don't do too well. The Kaepernick never really has a great game. Wilson never really has a great game. It always comes down to the running game and the defense. I
mean, Kaepernick's 2 worst QBRs have been in Seattle.
Yeah.
So, if you're a Niner fan, you're hoping now's his time. Now's the time. And the 49ers are on an 8-game win streak. They're the hottest team right now in the NFL. So I'm thinking they should pull it out. And out of those 8 games, they really haven't played a complete good game.
No, they haven't.
They really haven't. So I'm hoping that it shows up Sunday.
Yeah,
so
a lot of Niner fans. My sister's a Niner fan too, and she's definitely hoping for that.
Yeah.
I wanted Joe Montana had some interesting quotes to say about Colin Kaepernick, and as a 49er fan that you are, I wanted to get your opinion on it. Okay. And this is what Montana said, and I quote, "I like his mobility and that he's getting the ball downfield, but sometimes he needs to be more accurate in the pocket with pressure. The game is changing. Nobody wants to throw with pressure anymore, but the guys who can win in this league are the ones who can make throws from the pocket." And I don't know if that's the right. Why is he going at Kaepernick right now?
Well, it must be because Kaepernick's 3-0 on the road in the playoffs, and Steve Young and Joe Montana combined are 1-7.
Yeah, so that to me that gives him no right to. This guy by himself
a little bit jealousy.
It sounds a little bit jealousy.
Yeah.
Maybe Montana want to be faster, but I'm not going to knock him. That guy is arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So you got to listen when he says something.
I agree with him a little bit. Kaepernick can stay in the pocket a little bit longer and read his options downfield before taking off. But we got to remember, this is his third year in the NFL, second year starting.
Yeah.
So give him time to master all the elements, like Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, or Drew Brees. The way they move in the pocket comes with time, and he'll get that over time.
Yeah, I believe so too. So the 49ers, is that your pick?
That's my pick. I'm 49ers being the Super Bowl. Close battle, but like I said, I think they shut out Seattle's off. Not shut them out, shut them down.
Yeah.
Just enough to take them on to New York for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think the Niners win. I think it's going to be a rough and tough game, but I believe either Crabtree or Bolden will break out. Whoever's not on Richard Sherman will have a big game. Because Richard Sherman can't be both places.
Exactly.
So I guess both of our picks are the 49ers. 49ers all the way, huh?
Don't let us down, please.
Okay, and moving on to the next game, the New England Patriots versus the Denver Broncos. What are your thoughts on the game? What do you think the key factors are, and who do you think will take this?
Well, believe it or not, even with these two great passers, I believe whoever can stop the run better will win this game.
Mm-hmm.
So if whoever has a better game, Noshawn Moreno or LeGarrette Blount, that's who will win.
Yeah, I think Blount is showing like a lot. It makes me mad. I had him in my fantasy team for the whole season. He didn't do nothing until now. So that kind of made me upset. But it's all right, The Patriots, they've been known to be a passing team, but over the past few games, been pounding the rock like no one's ever seen. And the last time they did that was with Corey Dillon, and they had a good season that year.
I mean, Belichick, you can never count him out.
Yeah.
He always finds all the starters they lost, he always finds a way to win. But with that being said, I still think Broncos have the better defense, and I think their offenses pretty much cancel out, and I think Broncos defense will do better and win this game.
So you pick Broncos. I say the Patriots, only because Manning really, Manning's not, he doesn't have a good record against Bill Belichick, and that's not a coincidence. Yeah. I don't believe that's a coincidence at all. So I think New England ends up taking this game. And the interesting stat that I've seen, Tom Brady is 7-0 versus Jack Del Rio defense.
Okay.
So I believe that's what will happen. I think the Patriots come out and win this game. So I believe it'll be Niners and Patriots in the Super Bowl, and it'll be a match of old school versus new school when it comes to quarterbacks. Okay. And those are my predictions, and I can't wait to see how they go, man.
Neither can I.
Neither
can I. Sunday.
Well, yeah, we ran out of time today, but I appreciate you coming on the show. Hopefully we can do this again.
Yeah, man, I had a great time.
Yeah, it was a great time. I would love to get back in here and talk about what happens, see if our predictions were right or wrong, see whatever, see how it goes.
Okay.
So go ahead. You want to tell the people where they can reach you, or how do you get over to Kurtis Thomas?
I'm Kurtis Thomas. You could check me out on YouTube at Kurtis Thomas, and my show is Now You Know.
Check him out. And I need my camera. Where's she at? Thank you. It's been so long since I had my camera. Feels great. King of LA Sports. You can look me under the King of LA Sports on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And on Twitter, Rich Lopez, KOLASE. And with that being said, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us here on the Takeover. It's been a pleasure to work with Kurtis. Hopefully we can do this again. And I'd like to remind all of you, when you live life rich, you'll never be poor, and never, never, never be afraid to roll the dice.
Roll the dice.
Have a blessed day.